Well, the windshield is completely frosted over, and I was in a hurry, so now I'm kind of just sitting and waiting till it clears. But quick run out, slapdash, let's go uh, back to the same park. I have not even had time to edit any of the footage from Monday, photos, anything. It's been very busy, but there's a chance that those hummingbirds, I was going to do research to see whether or not they would be in breeding, mating, egg laying, egg hatching time of year. I don't know what their cycle is like, but there's a chance we could go back and see them. So we're taking that chance, and I'm heading right there. Gotta be quick. As soon as this windshield defrosts, on the way. Okay, a real quick update, and then I'll actually go and put a mic on and talk about what we saw and everything. But I noticed on the drive here, the first place I ever went to was a wildlife watching area, bird watching, at where the water is, and it's been closed for a very long time. There was another video a few months ago where I went out there specifically and it was closed, so I just wound up driving around. It's open, so I'm gonna head there, and then I'll watch and set up and record. Come on. That'll be better. We'll just have to take breaks if it gets hot, but I did pick a spot in the shade, looking out over the water. Water's high. There are birds to be seen. Waterfowl further out. I see geese. I see a lot of swallows over the water capturing bugs. Up against the tree line here, right where you park, there's yellow warblers. I've seen them, little bitty ones, flitting around. It's a good spot to come and see. It's a good spot to watch. It's not a great spot for photography or videos because everything is very far away. If you get a warbler right up here up against the trees, that's nice. But other than that, all the water is further away, and there are a lot of signs and rules about don't go down to the water, stay up here, stay behind the fence. Obviously, follow those. Though I have been here before, but it's not a great spot for those reasons. It's fine. It's great to bird watch. It's not great for photography and video because not just the distance, but you're also right next to the highway. So I have been here before, and I tried recording shortly after. Like I said, this was the first place that I came to. Because driving from Wyoming to the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, you drive through the forest that we've been through before and did some video of the forest. When you get onto a highway coming out of the forest, there's this place right here, wildlife viewing. And I saw that the first time as we were moving and went, I'll be there. Cool. And so once we got settled in, I grabbed the camera, and this was the first thing. It was just a quick little, let's go take a look. Oh, what do we have flying right here? And you went over my car. Anyway, that was fun. Not the longest time out. I wanted to limit myself because I was correct. I have yet to edit the footage from Monday, as I mentioned before, when I started a few hours ago. It's been a real busy week. There's been a lot of stuff going on, so I haven't gotten to that. But my plan is to try to get that done this weekend. The photos and vlog from when I went out on Monday, which I went to the same park because this is my spot now. And I was walking around taking still photos. I was going to do video, and I forgot my hard drive. Essentially my memory card. Which I'd like to, do. I would like to be able to use. So I did that today as well. But I went back out to the same spot. When I was out there on Monday, I just happened to, a 1,000,000 to 1 chance. I don't know. I never would have seen it otherwise because they blend in entirely. But hummingbird sitting on a nest, just kind of in the shade in a little clearing area back there. I just happened to notice it and go, oh, is that? And I took some pictures and then moved on because I was too close at that point. And figured I'll review those and see if indeed that's the case. And if it was, then I'll come back. Well, I didn't get a chance to review those, but indeed it was the case because I went back to the same spot. It took me a minute to find it. I got lost along the way because I forgot, since when I was out on Monday, I was just kind of wandering here and there. But I figured it out once I found that little clearing area. I went, oh, this is it. Now I just have to figure out which branch it was on. And that took another couple minutes because it just blends in entirely. It's the tiniest little nest right on an outcropping of a branch where you wouldn't even expect it. And the hummingbird is small and blends in. I don't know what kind of hummingbird. The editor will tell us, hopefully, if he can identify it. And then I got a bunch of footage of it. So we'll do a couple minutes here, and then I'll upload it as a separate video because it was about an hour. I wanted to limit myself because I tried to stay as far back as I could and get a clean shot, but they're so small. So I had to get closer. I moved around very sparingly. I tried to be as respectful as I could to its distance. I did at one point pull out my phone because I wanted to do some research to find out more about it. So at one point while I was recording, I pulled out my phone and quickly looked up what I could and just did a quick read through. I'm going to do some more research when I get home to learn more about it, but I think they will be hatching somewhat soon. We are at the end of May, depending on what kind of hummingbird it is. The website I went to, just the first result on Google, to learn more about their egg cycle is what I was looking at, to learn their incubation period, when they typically lay their eggs. It depends on what they are. Back on the East Coast when I was there, we would see more ruby-throated hummingbirds. And I have seen some here as well, but I don't know if that's what we have, because I've also seen a few other kinds. So, not entirely sure. There are other kinds, and depending on what it is, I've forgotten the second kind that they mentioned. They mentioned 2, and they mentioned the ruby-throated hummingbird typically lays their eggs between March and May, and then another one between May and July. Typically, they only have 1 egg laying per season, unless it's really early and their nest gets destroyed, and then they can have more. They just have a couple of eggs. They look white usually, I think. I don't know. Now that I know this, now I know I can come back here and do that. I stay a respectful distance back, but get some video. I will try again. I'll at least check in. I don't know how long. The next thing I want to look up, what I didn't, is how long it takes the babies from hatching to flying. And what they look like, because I mentioned something. There was I was telling my significant other, being like, I saw this is really exciting. I got a picture of it on Monday, and she sent a GIF in response, because that's how we communicate, is through GIFs of a hummingbird feeding the babies. And I went, is that real, or is that some kind of doctored image or something. I would not have guessed, and I saw images today, so I'm assuming, but again, I prefer to find out firsthand. I will probably see it in the research as well. The babies had just kind of normal baby bird beaks. Big, wide, yellow in the image that I saw, or the GIF that I saw, and then the image today on the website. So I guess maybe they're born like that, and then they grow to be super thin and long. I would not have expected that, but we'll find out, hopefully. At the very least, over the next few weeks, I'm hoping it's close to then. I did find out the female takes care of all of this on their own. The male isn't helpful at all. So that's, what year is it? Come on. 2023? I think the male hummingbird can help out a little bit. It doesn't just disappear. It's kind of messed up. But the female does, and so she would leave. And that would typically be when I would move the camera to try to minimize the amount of disturbance that I was doing. She would leave, go get some food, and then come back and sit on the eggs again. And did an interesting thing every time she would sit down on the eggs and get, So I probably have about an hour of bird watching footage of a hummingbird in the nest. Because again, it was right around an hour. Yellow warbler? Oh no, you're yellow, but you have a lot of black on you. Well, maybe you're still a warbler, but you're a big one. That's interesting. All the ones I've been seeing have been tiny little ones today. And boy, there were a lot of... Oh, wait, what are you? Now you're a tiny little yellow warbler. I spot you. There were tons of other birds while I was out there, which was really interesting. I found a good spot to come back to. So over the next few weeks, as long as I'm here and I'm visiting that spot, since that location is my go-to now, I'll just check in every time. I don't want to spend too much time. I don't want to be disturbing or anything, but I'm hoping I might be able to catch a bit of hummingbird feeding to the babies. That's my next goal. Now that I have a successful location to come back to, I hope it happens on a weekend, and I hope that there is a long enough time period, like if the babies take a couple of weeks to get from hatch to flying, then I'll be able to come back and see that successfully, because I can only do it on the weekends. And this was my only opportunity this weekend. Early Saturday morning, I knew it would be shorter. I figured if I go out, I'd already had the plan in mind, because I was like, I'm just going to go out. I'm going to see if that was indeed a hummingbird nest that I saw, because it was only for a minute. If it was indeed a hummingbird nest that I saw, I'll try to get some video of it, but I don't want to be out there too long, because it's not... To get decent footage of hummingbirds, you do have to be closer than I would rather be to birds, especially when they are nesting, because I don't want to disturb them and harass. So I planned for it to be shorter, and between all that, about an hour, yeah. But now, whenever I come back, I'll probably come back and do still photos, and I'll just check in and just keep coming back and respectfully peek in and see what I can see, and then I'll set up and do another maybe hour of hummingbird feeding babies if I can catch it. If it doesn't happen on a weekend, if it's like, oh yeah, hummingbirds are like the fastest bird in the world to go from eggs to flight. They really, they hatch, and within 3 days they're gone. They're already out of the nest and the mother's moved on. If it's something like that, I could miss it entirely. But I'm hoping that'll be the case. I'm hoping I can come back and see more. It's up in a tree. There's no way that I could see from up above in order to see down in to see the eggs and see, I don't know if there's a way you can see how close they are to hatching. My entire egg bird experience comes from movies and video games. So I have no idea, but super excited. That should be really cool. So check out that. If you're into watching hummingbirds for an hour, there should be, hopefully, assuming an hour of footage came out of it, should be plenty of that. And other than that, we've got, I'll put a few clips here, and then some of what I did with I did bring the pocket cinema camera, and I did try to get some landscape shots of the area that I was in, just a little here and there before I packed up and left. So should be some of that. Good stuff. Good time out. Fun. Bye.